Hey, mommy.
Say it's good to invite the men in.
It's good to invite. Oh, hey.
It's good to invite the men in if we're gonna talk
Talk
about
about
the men.
Men, money, and God, part 2. I wasn't here for part 1, but I heard it was lit. Welcome, everyone.
If you were here yesterday, welcome to the second part of the conversation. What's up?
Show us some love as you're tuning in here from wherever you are in the world.
This is a part 2, and the part 1 is on my page. If you're just coming through, you can stay tuned for the part 2. It's gonna be amazing. We love you so much, babe. Been feeling you, thinking about you.
Men, money, and God. Come on now.
The Holy Trinity. Some of the most powerful, potent, and also charged conversations we could have about just one of these.
What's up, Taylor? Good to see you. Hey, Marissa. All these beautiful souls in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
All right.
This is going to be lit. I can feel it.
It's going to be lit.
Yes.
So, what we were saying was, we're going to talk about the men. What's up, Marissa? I see some of my favorite humans on here. We love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always pulsing into the space and feeling the call. What's up, Lily? Yeah. It's a juicy space. So, It's a Venus day. We got a little sensuality in the field. I'm feeling it. All right. So, it's so important that we invite our men into these spaces, into these conversations. It's so easy for me to come in and be like, yeah, men, money, and God. Let's talk about men. And I've learned over and over and over and over and over again that it's just so important that we invite them in. Like, hey, how do you really actually feel? How is this experiencing through you? Instead of just, it's so beautiful. So many feminine beings and teachers and myself and my mentors and just so many women in this space. We have so much to say about men and about how to move with love and so much in that. And it's just so much easier just to ask him how he feels.
Ask him. What's up, Stacy?
So, one of the biggest points of delicious tension that was in the field yesterday in the conversation was this conversation around provision and masculine provision. And for everyone that's on this call right now, I'm going to speak for myself and for a lot of my own clients and a lot of women friends surrounding me. It's such a attunement in the field right now. So many women who are like, hey, yo, I don't really want to work. I want to frolic in the garden. I just want to be with the land and the earth and play in the water and jump in the ocean. And I want to make art and I want to create because I want to create.
Recovering boss babes.
No
diss to the brand Boss Babe.
Yeah.
They're legit.
It's been a huge thing, and I think that, there's layers to this that I've just tracked in my own system now for a few years. And, let's see, where do I want to actually ground this in? Before I met Oren, I was in a relationship where I was making so much money and I was so deeply in this boss babe mentality, and I'm so grateful that I got to have that experience and
Welcome to the Boss Babe Recovery
that I got
program.
This is like AA for boss babes.
You were in the upper echelon of the Boss Babe paradigm.
Yeah,
you had a decent amount of chill in your system.
I was
but
definitely,
you were definitely Boss Babe
frolicking in the garden still. But I cared more about money than I did about my relationship, I'll be honest. I cared so much more about how can I make more money, how can I succeed, how can I rise in this industry, more than I cared about focusing on my relationship. And, I would be in my energetic cock all day, like, oh, I'm just like penetrating the field. I'd be like leading and serving and doing all these things. Yes, I just said that on a live. My rod. And then I would get done working and I'd go to my partner and I'd be like, can you just like lead me? Can you dominate me? Can you please, like, I need you to like wrangle this in. And he was just like, what? I can't even. I really have a lot of compassion for my previous partner, actually, because I was just like, I want you to lead me, but I want you to lead me how I want you to lead me. Wait, not like that. And so yeah, there's so much that had to be dissolved in that field. I'm saying that to say that I've been on all different spectrums of what I'd feel in provision and masculine provision. I've taken care of myself. I have been in different relationships where like a man has in some capacity provided for me, but it always came with some weird agenda or like some weird thread or energetic underneath the field that just didn't really feel good. So I was like, I'm good. I'll take care of myself. I don't really want to be in whatever this weird dynamic is. And the pulse and the frequency and the attunement that I'm feeling in the field and that we've been just talking about, it's been happening, it feels like for a few years now, is that everybody is being called into union. So whether you're in a relationship or not, or you have a desire to come into union and your desire is to come into this place within your heart and to be in, just to be in deep union with God, then this will come up in the field, right? Like this is it's like pulsing itself through the field where there is, I would say, a reorganizing, a recoding of how we love, how we work, how we flow, how we are provided for, how we move, how we serve, because we are living in a time where we truly have a choice. Most of us truly have a choice who we love and how we lead. And so there's a purification that's happening around how we are being provided for and how our service is actually moving less from survival and more into the true currency of God. So we were talking about this outside because one of the main conversations, and this is like something that we've navigated and been working with, is like, okay, well, I don't necessarily just want to like stay home and tend to the family and the children, or like tend to the garden. And tell me who else here, like how you feel as the women who are watching, like where are you at with this current evolution that's happening? You know, do you want to just frolic in the garden, tend to the family, tend to the home, be in the kitchen, be the homemaker, which we love that. I have a couple of friends and clients who are fully in that journey and it's true for them. And then there's like the women who are like, I just want to keep working and like keep building my business and keep thriving and keep growing. And then there's like this middle ground that I'm like feeling that a lot of women are in, which is like, I want to frolic in the garden and I want to serve. And I still want to be in this currency of, you know, moving through the field. I have a mission, I have a purpose, I have something that is truly a calling from God. Yes, I want both. Thank you, Carissa. So if you're here for the merging of, I'm here to frolic in the garden, be the homemaker, be the wife, yes, 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 here for the union, and I'm here to be of service. I have something that I want to create and birth through this being. Yeah, so there's a lot of both.
Told ya. Sorry, I just wanted to say something.
I want my titties in the mud. I love you. Me too, girl. Yeah, so just knowing where you're at and loving where you're at and really just like in this moment being like, yeah, I want all of it. Like I want to have this and that. And like we're literally in this moment creating what this paradigm looks like. Like this has never been done before, y'all. This is not something that a lot of women or relationships or partnerships or unions have actually experienced and mastered on the level of purity of truth of what we're speaking about, like where it's truly coming from the heart. So let's hear from Oren. I'm like, I'm so excited.
No, keep going. I'm just like a plant back here.
I just hold space. Tune into what we were talking about yesterday.
Tune them up, boo.
So, what we were sharing outside just now was, thank you, babe. I get so excited. See, I still get my little boss, babe. She still likes to take over sometimes. It's real. Is this like, how do we do both? Be in our deepest feminine essence and truly descend when we're offering a service out into the world, and we need to be in that masculine essence and structure to be in feminine, we'll say, leadership, offering. How do we do it? Ooh, what's happening?
What's happening, boo? What's up, boo?
Hey, boo. Sorry, I got really excited.
Oh, all good. So what's the question? What's your question around this?
In a continuation of what we were talking about outside, where it's like, okay, let me rephrase this. So many men and so many women, so many men are like, I want my woman to be in her feminine. And women are like, I want to be in my feminine. I want to drop in. I want to descend. I want to be in the rhythms and the cycles of the earth, and I want to just fully drop into that. And simultaneously are being called into service and still leading missions. And so like, where does that line? What is the, where do we find that within ourselves? How do we navigate being in relationship, being in union, being in our feminine, and also serving when that energy calls for more of a masculine structure and dynamic sometimes?
Well, even if it hey.
That's a little super deep question. Any other women feel this? Would love to know this. This is like my life's everything. I'm like, please, God, give us the answers.
So one distinction is like when the masculine is called for, right? Let's say in your business, in your life, just whatever it is that you're creating, like something, a vision, a goal, something that is essential to your life, right? And we're talking about, this new paradigm when it comes to, no pressure, when it comes to creation. I think an important distinction is, see, when the masculine is being called for in the old paradigm, I think the conversation was looking at that through like, oh, okay, well, clearly the masculine is being called for in me alone, right? But that's already that's already a narrow view. It assumes that in order to fulfill what needs to be fulfilled, which is calling for the masculine, that it has to move through you, which is one way. And I think part of the expansion is not so much in what we're doing, but how we're doing it, right? And if you think about the expansion from independence, like as an identity, not like as a strength, but independence as an identity has a blind spot to it. It has a limitation to it. It's on autopilot, right? So it's like, oh, if this needs to be done, obviously I need to do it, right? Yeah. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? That's happened with us a few times just in the last week. Just some simple moments where you're like, oh, okay, I'm in the feminine right now, but this energy of inspiration and creation or desire is moving through me.
Yeah.
And then automatically you're activating the masculine, which is not bad. That's not the point. But in that example, you didn't actually want to do the thing.
Yeah.
So then why would you do something that you don't want to do? That's part of what's hidden here. It's how this energy is being generated in the moment.
Yeah.
To me, that example is just a very simple, give us some hearts if this is landing, because I don't want to just speed through this because it's a very deep and nuanced conversation. Is this example landing? All right. So in that moment, I think we were setting up to do some shooting, right? To shoot some content. and you were like, oh, so are we going to shoot here or are we going to shoot there? Do we need this or do we need that? Mm-hmm. Are you going to need this? And I was like, babe, stop.
Yeah.
But the reason I said stop is not because you weren't capable.
Yeah.
It's not because you don't have an inner masculine. It's because you actually were on a default automatic mechanism,
Totally.
which wasn't actually being sourced from your inner feminine.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was an automatic, like, oh, if I want this done, of course I need to do it. Of course I need to think about it. Of course I need to tend to it.
Yeah.
So does that make sense? That default area, I feel like, is a zone that makes this conversation more tangible. Because we're not saying don't tap into your masculine. I think that because of the pendulum swing of the masculine and the feminine and the imbalance of power and the necessity for women to channel their masculine, that there's parts of that turned into an identity and even like a protection, and parts of that go on autopilot.
Yeah.
So wherever those parts are one zone very clearly that the masculine, whether it's through me, a man who's in your environment, or through God, is like, I got you right now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then you're in divine union in a moment of creation where you're co-creating with the masculine, and so that's a whole other, that's just another way for something to happen.
Yeah.
So I have more to say about it, but that's a significant point right there. And that's where a lot of the blind spot is, or the assumptions that are occurring, whether the assumption is I have to do it, or it's only me, or if I don't do it, it won't happen.
Or like, I think what I've learned, especially when it comes to my business, is like, or just things in that connection point, is like, well, I know how to.
Right.
So I can. But do I really enjoy it?
Exactly. Competency, like, can be a trap, right? Especially if there's fear or lack involved. Like, I can, so I'm going to do it, right? But sometimes you have to look beneath the surface of that to see, okay, you're doing it because you can, but are you also believing that you have to do it?
Yeah.
Are you also distrusting in God, distrusting in life, distrusting in your partner? That's where the subtleties are that I find is some of the juice to unpack here.
Yeah. I want to answer, Lily, I'm going to answer your question in just a minute because I love that question so much, babe. Thank you. It's such a good one. And I want to take it into like a deeper layer. So that was more of like, it was a good nuanced, like where you might actually miss where this is playing out in everyday life in your own, whether you're in relationship or not. Honestly, this is something that I see a lot of women do where they're like, oh, I'm just going to do everything. And instead of outsourcing or hiring a team or allowing themselves to just, you know, if you imagine what's my highest desire and excitement in creating and setting up a structure in my business so that I can actually just show up and serve.
I want to share one more thing that I think will really add some richness to this conversation. So I'm a man, and I'm also very rooted in my divine masculine. And so my capability, my capacity to serve, to give, to create, to provide is not existing just inside me, right? And what I want to highlight here is that how it feels inside me when I feel your desire active, and it activates me, which means it's relevant to me. So something you have created is trying to move through me.
Yeah.
And if you don't allow that or receive it, or you fill the space and go and do it, I literally I can feel my body like close.
Yeah.
And the opposite of that.
This is good.
The opposite of that is when you speak, which is the most tangible way of expressing desire. But when you speak your desire, when you radiate your desire, and you don't prematurely jump to go fulfill it because you can, or because you're assuming you can, or any kind of lack, when that happens, What I would love for you asked me recently, what's one thing I would love for women to know? Like
Yeah.
I want to say to the women, give me some hearts. I want give me some love
Tell
here.
us.
Let me
I always
Let me see if I can
ask
land-
that.
land
what
the
do you
ship
wish
on this.
women knew more of about men?
All right, yeah. And you know this, and there's like, how much do you actually know this? Like, no, and allow it. What I would love for women to know, and I'm making the distinction between like me as a man and like God in me, which is consistently very active, is that when your desire is lighting up and I can feel it, and you're in your feminine and you're in a state of receiving, which means you're in the optimal moment of co-creation with life and with me. And you're not doing this thing that we're speaking about, like just prematurely, just like being independent and going to, then I literally feel, when I'm connected to my divine masculine, I literally feel magnetized and compelled to fulfill whatever it is that you want. And whether I know how to fulfill it or not, I literally feel like this must happen.
I feel.
Can anybody feel that? Like this, I'm speaking
Yeah.
about the divine masculine itself, including God, including life, but I'm speaking about it from a human perspective, and relationally, that's how it feels to me. So, for example, one of my favorite examples is when we were looking for our last house, Chelsea and I were doing our own things. Are you still with me, Boo?
Yeah, I've never seen that before. That's
Okay.
cool.
A classic feminine. Oh, look, a bird. Chelsea and I, as we were co-creating our last house, which is mystical and logistical, it's feminine and masculine. There's lots of things that needed to happen. We were moving in union, in co-creation. She had things I was doing, or she had things she was doing, I had things I was doing. There was a moment, some of you saw this, a freestyle video. I kept asking her, because we're in this expansion of our own co-creation template, right? Which includes this expansion of the feminine. I kept asking her, what do you want? What do you want? What else? How do you want? Okay, this is the house that you want. What else? What else? What else? This is the way that the divine masculine, in its purest sense, actually speaks to the feminine. So ladies, if you like this feeling, please drink it up. It's like, what do you want? Okay, what else do you want? She's like, ooh, I want this kind of house. And I see this. What's up, Allison? And I see this, and I see this. And this was the more of the game changer. And I was like, and how do you want it? I don't mean want it. I knew you were going to say that. Help me land this part, because this is like the gold.
So we were, and just so you know, this was like a moment of, I would say, like we were in probably like the eye of the storm when it came to creating this home. Like it was like there was definitely tension and frustration in the field around not having it and around not being there. And it was so clear where we wanted to be, the house we wanted to be in. And so Oren kept asking me, like, what's the highest timeline? What's the deepest desire? Like, go beyond your wildest dreams with this. And, if you know Oren, if you've spent time with him, he's like always freestyling. He loves to just like pull his camera out and freestyle. And he's just doing that, sitting like freestyling. And I just pop in and I'm like, hey, I have a dream. I'd love to fly into LA. And you just like basically, I can't remember the full freestyle, but I freestyled, speaking his language.
You're like, hey girl, I got us a house in LA. That was the essence of the
basically,
freestyle.
I offered my entire dream and desire of like
Right.
how I would want to just roll up into this house through a freestyle, which was speaking his language. It was through art. It was through play. It was through creation.
Through
it was
an open
through
heart, through your
pure
feminine.
open heart. It was like, I would love this. And I was like, I would love for you to go to LA. I would love
get us a house.
for you to get us a house and call me, and I will fly in and move in that day. I don't want to be part of any of the processing, the agreements, the contracts. I just want you to go and do it. And he was like,
well, you didn't even, to be clear, this is subtlety, but you didn't even say, I don't want to be a part of this, and this, right? Because that starts to get into the laugh.
Yeah, because I was just freestyling what I wanted.
What I'm trying to say is that she gave a pure, abundant, clear transmission of desire. And part of what we're illuminating here is that another version of her, in her own masculine, would have automatically been part of, assumed, and been part of finding the house, looking online, looking on whatever, looking on real estate sites, being in communication, sending emails. So the point here is that not that I should do that and she shouldn't. I just want to be really clear. The truth is that she didn't want to do that. The truth is that she really wanted to just roll up in LA and receive. So I'm just using this as an example to illuminate like what we're talking about. You know, when you ask me the question, it's like, it's how you're creating. You see, the masculine was involved. You see, that was your original question. You're like, well, what about when you have a creation and the masculine is being called for? The masculine was being called for in that creation.
So, yeah, I want to... Yes, I want to play with the delicious nuances here for everyone that's watching, because these are important.
It's in the nuances.
It's all in the subtleties and the nuances. Oren and I have such a beautiful relationship where it's like, whatever we want, we always, it's just like, yes, like I'm here for your desires and your dreams. And so this is something that we start with in our relationship is like, what do you want? Yes. I don't care if I love that Oren said, like, I don't care, am I capable? And I think that a lot of times women are afraid to ask for what they want because they're already assuming what he is or is not capable of.
Yes.
They're already assuming that he can't or he won't or he doesn't want to or he's not available for it. And you don't actually know that. You don't actually know that if you come with the way that we're speaking to. This was it was like I wasn't performing anything. It was just a moment of pure play. But I will say that there is a gift in not commanding or demanding that your man do anything for you. There's no entitlement there. It was just like, I would love this, and this is how I would love to feel, and this is how I would love for you to provide it. And I'm also going to turn this into an art form that you love so that you fully receive it through your heart. It was so fun. And I didn't think anything of it. Like, it was like, okay, we left it there. The other piece to this is that, you know, I kept getting frustrated at this time at Oren because we were traveling so much, we were nomadic, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep traveling. We keep going through and getting in traveling, and I realized that and this is where women sometimes can not understand, where they're not holding themselves to their own truth and their desires and collapsing in on themselves. I got so mad at him one time. We were in the bathtub and I was like, how dare you keep moving us around?
You're so dramatic.
I'm very dramatic.
You were upset though.
But I was crying.
That time you were upset.
And I was like, how could you do this to me? I don't want to travel anymore. And I realized that I kept getting on the plane.
Right.
I kept getting on the plane. I kept traveling. I kept going. And he was like, yeah, we're flowing. And so the other piece of this element, when I offered this ask, this desire, the next day, I think I told him, I was like, oh, by the way, I was so serious about that. I would love that. And I'm not leaving Kauai until we have a house. So I'm going to stay here. My nervous system, my heart, my body really need to ground right now. I'm not getting on another flight until we have a home. And I would really appreciate if you would support me in that. And Oren was like, yes, babe, got you. I love you. To the point where he even left, flew back to see me, and then left again to go and look at the house in LA. He was like, yeah, babe, whatever you need. And that's that moment where it's like, oh, this is edgy for me to ask for what I want. And is he going to agree with it? And does he like it? Or is he okay with this? This is a lot for me to ask right now. And because it was coming from the purity of my heart, and Oren could feel like that's going to be so good for her and for us, that of course I'm going to stand for that.
Yes.
There's a lot. There's so much just in that one story. It's actually one of my favorite stories of creation with you.
I think it's one of my favorite stories to exemplify this shift from the boss babe and speaking to the feminine. Especially, this is all for just the feminine in general, but we're also very specifically speaking to women who are very gifted, are in service, have businesses. And you don't want to work in the same way that you were, but it's not like you don't want to work anymore. So this was helpful. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so this is a good example of co-creating. And here's the thing, like I was the one that went to fulfill that. But part of what's happening, the energetics of what's happening is that even if I was not present in that moment, then the feminine, its purest essence, how it co-creates with God, how it co-creates with life, is that when you're feeling, speaking, allowing, vibrating within your desire, and you are trusting, and you're in that state of receiving, then it's like you light up on the radar of life. You're felt. And so many channels can come to partner with you, to co-create with you, to help fulfill what you want. But if you fill that space, you literally fill the space. It's almost like you can't even see the resources that are your resources trying to come into you if you're crowding the space. And that's where the negotiation happens, if we're being honest.
This is good.
Women, right? Like, oh, I will vacate the space if I know. That's control. I will vacate the space if I know you're going to do this and going to do this in this way and you can guarantee this. God don't negotiate.
This has been a big lesson for me, and honestly, it's a huge feminine shadow. It's like, well, he's not showing up. He's not doing the thing. They're not doing the thing, but you are literally filling that space. You're asking for something, you're praying to God, you're asking your partner, and then you're filling the space before you can even allow yourself to receive. Because you don't, on the core, like subconscious level, trust that it's going to happen, or that he will provide, or that he will come in. And this is something that I've had to really excavate within myself, y'all. Like deep lineage healing I'm talking about here, where it's like, women in my family have been like, you better always make sure you can take care of yourself and that you never have to rely on a man. It's like pulling these stories out, and in these moments where I'm like, please take care of me. But then in the next second, stepping in and really sitting with like, wow, that's like not just mistrust with the masculine, but it's mistrust with God.
It is. I was just going to say, nice segue. Because you asked me a question recently, and I want to share it here. And what you asked me, or what got revealed, is that one of the reasons that you might control or hold on, which is coming from love, by the way. It's not like any of this is bad, right? To want to be safe and take care of yourself.
That part of yourself that wants to protect.
Loving, right? Anyway, what you said is like the deep fear is that if I don't make sure that I'm taken care of, then, or if I give myself completely to you and allow you to provide, what if it goes away? What if the relationship goes away? What if the provision goes away and then I'm left with nothing?
Can I offer something with this? Like, this
yeah,
is actually a conversation that we had, I think 2 days ago. We were sitting downstairs, and I've been in this pulse with Oren where I'm like, please provide for me. I want to start a family soon. And like, this conversation that's been pulsing, and I'm seeing him. He's showing up in a bigger way than I've ever seen him before. Like, he is like waking up early. He's getting on calls. He's doing his meetings. I'm seeing him like expand to a capacity that I've never seen before. So he's like, yeah, I'm doing the thing. I'm building the home. I'm creating foundation. And still subconsciously and subtly, there was this like energetic playing out where I'm like, oh, I really want this thing from you, but it's the same shadow where I'm like, oh, but I'm going to step in. And we sat down the other day, and I said, you know what I can feel in my system is it's almost like having a plan B. Like, oh, okay, yes. Yeah. Oh, please provide for me, take care of me. I see that you're doing it. And I'm just going to still be like doing this thing sitting in the background over here just in case, way down the line, this doesn't work out. And we sat down and talked about it, and I was like, you know what's at the core of this is that I'm so afraid. I really want to feel this because I can feel it in the collective feminine. It's like, because it's been so conditioned and because it's been lineage and it's been in our DNA and we've seen it, we've watched our mothers and our grandmothers go through these dynamics, is this like deep rooted core fear that we would give our entire lives to these men and then we would be abandoned and we would be left.
Yes.
And I would be left with nothing.
The plan
Maybe
B.
a child to raise by myself. And some of you that are watching are probably like, I've literally been living that. I've been through that. I know that. That is my story. Right? So we're feeling that fear of like, yeah, I really want you to take care of me and provide for me. And I'm afraid. I'm really afraid. And that's okay.
Thanks, Boo.
Yeah, I wanted to like I'm like, there's a whole essence of that that's so deep.
Yeah, and there's a subtlety in the plan B because it's all in the energy and where it's coming from, right? Because when we're in a plan B, it's a state of control, which ironically, you're actually not open fully to even receive the very thing that you want. So it kind of works against you. That's what I mean by like crowding the space, right? So like this negotiation, it's like, you show me this, then I'll open more. You know, if you can guarantee this, then I'll receive. But receiving is receiving. It's energetic. It's an opening. It's an allowing. It's an actual softening. So it's not the energy when it comes to like the plan B, or I'll do this just in case. And one of the things that I shared with her is, you know, like one thing to do about that so you don't find yourself in this like what you believe is an extreme situation. Like either I'm fully surrendered or I'm like over here handling business until God or this man can help me, right? One of the ways that you can continue to open is just simply to be honest.
Woo!
Emotionally honest. Vulnerable, right? Is this landing?
So Andrea says, what are the tools so that I can alchemize this one? And this is it. Like, start with this.
Yeah, because when you're vulnerable, love can hold it all. Vulnerability, emotional honesty takes you out of the quandary. The quandary is this or that. The quandary is the negotiation that you're doing with the man, potential man, or with God, right? It's kind of like, you come this way and then I'll open and receive. But in the meantime, I'm going to make sure I take care of myself. That's the plan B energy. So rather than getting stuck in that endless loop of like, it's like the unsolvable puzzle. It is. It's an endless loop. It's a stuff.
Preach, tell us, take us to church. This is so good. This is so good.
So vulnerability will allow you to stay in a state of receiving, right? And this is then where the penetration happens, right? Which means you're going to be somewhat in the unknown, but then you can be present to the fear that you have. And then love can love the fear because you're not in the state of control. As soon as you make the control transparent, I'm saying through vulnerability, instead of like, oh, getting back into the masculine again and go, ooh, I see what's happening. Let me get into my spiritual masculine and try to figure my way out of this loop mentally. You won't get out of there mentally, right? So, and this is actually what happened in our conversation. You know, I shared with Chelsea, and then she was vulnerable with me, and then took her eyes off the prize, took her eyes off of the puzzle. The puzzle is, I don't know how to do this, so I'm going to do the plan B thing. And it was able to dissolve some of this separation and release some of the control, which once you open up into a state of receiving, then you have well, you can receive. Not only can you receive what you want, but you can receive divine intelligence, intuition, insight, direction, and allow this to actually be healed. The split. If you're managing the split, or if you're in the split, which managing the split means you're in the split, there's no way out of it.
There's no ever winning that.
It's not.
thing.
It's
It will exhaust you.
There's no way out of it. You have to cross the threshold at some point. Yeah. And in this case, I'm describing it as vulnerability. Unless you're able to just be like, cool, I let go of control. I'm in faith now, and I'm trusting. I'm just using vulnerability as a bridge to speak to the challenge that it can be to open up the space and let the truth of what you want, which is where the trust, the surrender, and the faith comes in, and also the truth of the trauma that's active in your system also be present at the same time. Then the light can enter. Then more unity can happen.
Yeah. Thank you. This is really good.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I, another connection point with this for all the women that are watching and really resonating is one of the fastest and most powerful ways that we can open up the channel of receiving life, receiving God, receiving provision, receiving whatever it is that we're here to receive, is receiving ourselves. Fully taking in however it is that we're feeling in a moment and not resisting it. This is the same thing of being honest and vulnerable. If you can't even take a second to be with how you feel in your body and the sensation that's moving through your system, you can just fully receive whatever that is, even the fear, even the doubt, the shame, the frustration, any of it that you're feeling, then it will actually open up the field more for you to receive what you want to receive.
Yeah, and I want to share a little bit more from my perspective of this moment. And one of the things that I shared with you is that, well, a couple things. One, I was like, okay, if I'm out there building the kingdom, it's a metaphor, but it's relevant to whatever it means to us, right? If I'm out there building the kingdom so that you can have more space and relax and be doing whatever the heck you want to do, right? If I'm out there doing that, I'm like, I want to enjoy that, right? I'm like, I think I said, I feel like you're not fully available. I'm like, I'm doing my part.
You do yours.
You
enjoy the kingdom, bitch.
I'm like, enjoy the kingdom. I was like,
I didn't say bitch.
I didn't say that. But I was basically like, and this is just an expression. This isn't the truth. I was basically like, well, what fun is it to build the kingdom if you're not there to enjoy it? And the whole idea of oh no, you build it, then I'll open up and let go of the fear and surrender and trust and enjoy it, that's the lie. And this is where I also said, I'm not here to save you. And this is a very clear thing for the divine masculine. This is a very important distinction. Should we go there, ladies?
Let's go.
Should we go? Do you want to go there?
Go. We're there. We're already there.
Do you guys want to hear a little bit more about the divine masculine part of this? So this does not apply to all men, right? I'm speaking to the divine masculine that resides in men at different levels at different times. But I'm speaking from the divine masculine. And that is that if she's in a state of control, right? Which is just seeking safety, and she's doing the whole plan B thing, the whole independent, sovereign woman thing, and working more than she wants to, right? Then what I'm saying is that the fear part of her is looking for a savior.
Woo!
The part of her that's in fear, coming from the trauma, is not just looking for provision. This is really important. That aspect is looking for a savior.
Damsel in distress.
That's fear. Now, if you have a man who is partially in his ego masculine or in his head, or if he's in control, like, and he has an identity as, I'm a man, I will save you, right? Then now that's also control. And ironically, even if he were to be like, cool, I built the kingdom, or here's $1 million, it wouldn't do anything. It would perpetuate the same deep instability that's already in the field.
And then both in the relationship would come into the kingdom still both in control. And wonder why they're still fighting, processing, it's not fully landing, they're not actually in that template.
So I'm not here to pacify her fear or treat her like she needs to be saved, right? Because that would be to deny the goddess in her, to deny God moving through her, supporting her. I'm not taking the place of that for her, right? Is this landing?
I'll say that there have been, in the last year, there's been moments where I've asked Oren for support, whether it was through, I'm like, hey, can you support me in paying for this? Or can you offer this? And there's been moments where he's like, yes, I got you. He helped me. I remember you helped me make a huge payment for a mentorship at one point. And it was like, yes, I got you. I can feel that this would be amazing. And then other times where I've been like, he's like, what do you need? And I'm like, can you just give me $20,000, please? And you were like,
I remember once, let me say what I said. What I said, and this is not a formula, right? What I said in that instance, I remember, was like, that's not what you need. That's what you think you need. If I were to give you $100,000 right now, it would not actually create the safety and the empowerment in your system that you're asking for right now. That wasn't me, like Oren, because I'm like, of course, I got you. I'm here for it. Yes, whatever you need. Yes, 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 yes. But that's unconditional love. And to the masculine, or to men, if you want to access the divine masculine in you, or access more of it, you have to be willing to be in both of these types of moments. One, which is yes, 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 because like yes, and one of the wounds of the masculine is what is it? The women, the feminine is I'm too much. The masculine's I'm not enough, right? So for the masculine, we have to get past the I'm not enough, right? You see, because this insatiable quality of the feminine, this womb energy that just like draws everything onto it. Give me everything. Right? I am available for that. That's why I'm like, yes, whatever is activating in her, for her heart and her soul, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Regardless of how I'm going to fulfill it or what part I'm going to play in it. But what I'm saying, give me some snaps or some hearts if you guys are feeling me, or some flames. We're going down the rabbit hole here. And I don't want this to fall on deaf ears. Is this landing, Boo?
It's definitely landing for me.
So the other side of it, because when you're willing to engage one side, right, which really for a man will put you up and confront your doubt, confront your self-esteem, confront your manhood, right? To be like, yes, even when I don't know exactly how I'm going to fulfill it, right? Because I'm willing to engage that side, right? The insatiable feminine, the inexhaustible masculine, I'm also willing to be like, hey, right now, this is not what you need. I could give you, that's what I said, I could give you $100,000 right now, and that's not what you need.
Yeah.
So that, call it medicine of the moment, is the energetic of divine masculine provision in that moment. Because I could see and feel what was going to actually fulfill what she was truly calling for. Her interpretation of that in the moment was like, if I had another 100 grand right now, then I would have what I want and I would feel what I want and everything would be fine. And it wasn't actually true.
Yeah.
And if I was trying to be a good man instead of a God man, I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. Let me figure out how I can do that. I don't want you to think I'm not a man. I don't want, this is the type of stuff that goes on inside of men, including me sometimes. I don't want to feel like I'm not enough or like I'm not here for her, or like my woman's not safe.
Yeah.
So you have to be willing to channel that energy of God or the divine masculine, period. You know, and that can be really uncomfortable.
Yeah. I want to speak one piece to that, but I also want to speak to this. I love you. Stop second guessing your flow, bro. So you got to know something about Oren. He's a reflector and he's taking in a lot of information at once. When we do these live streams, he's feeling a lot of energy. I don't think Oren ever second guesses himself. He's actually, when he's saying, hey, are you guys, is this landing? He's attuning the field back into the present moment. He's saying, let's like drop in right here. Are you ready for what's next?
And thank you for your comment.
Yeah.
Received.
We're here and it's landing. Yes. So this is so important. And this took me a long time to really like understand and actually get, because there was a chapter, especially recently, like I would say, where I was just like, why am I not just getting whatever I want whenever I want it? You know, really feeling kind of like this energy. And here's the thing about provision, money, men, and God. When we're talking about provision, when Oren says no, or when God says no, or when the money's not flowing, or when the thing you're praying for isn't coming, that's also God's provision. And that's also God's correction. That's also God saying, there is something here that, no, I'm not going to just save you. There's a really deep soul lesson that you are navigating that you need to be with. Like, that's like divine father. Like, hey, yeah, you're here in this moment.
Well said, divine. It's the divine father.
And like, be in this.
Yeah.
It's the Holy Father. And so his provision is sometimes no.
Yeah.
And that is huge. It's priceless. It's beyond, if you're like, I just need $100,000, it's better.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that moment unlocked some wealth very, very soon after.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I want to just, this is mainly to the women, but I do want to speak this to the men too, and also women, so you understand men or the divine masculine. It's like, you know, when I say, do you want to be a good man or a God man? This is an example of like, you have to be willing to be perceived like you're not providing. You have to be willing to be perceived like you're not protecting. Mm-hmm. Perceived being the key word, right? That's a deep one. Mm-hmm. That is a deep one. That could be really, really challenging, right?
Yeah.
And I don't, and to men, right? Because we've been so conditioned and valued, and our worth is so connected to our ability to be men and to be capable, right? And so in that moment, it'd be like, you know, if I was in fear, it'd be like, ooh, I don't want to appear like I don't care, like I'm not capable, like I'm not able right now. I want her to like me. I want her to know that you know what I mean? And especially if I'm feeling that she's feeling unsafe, which I did, right? I love that you made the distinction of divine father. I like that. It simplifies that energetic.
And, you know, so Sasha asks, when he said no, how did you move through that? And how do you shift from the damsel energy? Well, again, first and foremost, comes back to the honesty of vulnerability. It's like, wow, can I actually see the truth of how I'm feeling right now, which is, I just want to be saved.
Yeah. And also, the energy of the no, and this is a subtlety here, the energy of the no was like, no, that's not what you need, and I love you, and I'm still here.
Yep.
I didn't just say no. I was just like, no, that's not what you need. Let's pour into what's needed here.
and was willing to pretty much sit with me for as long as I needed to like be with what was really in the space. Like, okay, what else is here?
Yeah, and that's I think that's important both for the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah.
When you're channeling like this divine masculine, or women, when you're channeling like oracular energy, I think that it's important that you are willing to be with the person in it, right? Not just like disconnect, like I'm just delivering a message, right? Anybody can access intuition in the moment or speak a truth in the moment. But part of what makes that impactful is not just the truth that's being spoken, it's the energy of I'm here with you, I got you. Like, I see that you're struggling with this and I'm here with you.
And I'm here to be with you through whatever this brings up. When we say the field of love holds it all, we're talking about these moments in particular where there's a lot of, it's like that moment where so much healing is taking place, and for really slowing down and we're present in that particular moment where it's like, no, but I'm here with you. And then I'm feeling that sensation of like, okay, I'm feeling like I want to be saved, but like what's actually here and what do I actually need? Okay, I'm feeling the desire for safety. Okay, how can I cultivate safety in this moment? What's actually going to help me create safety? It's like, slow down and be with that, and it will start to integrate something so much deeper than...
Yeah, and we worked that out together in the moment.
Yeah.
Right? That was the follow-up to the no, was like, what's really needed here? Yeah? What's really needed here? And I was open. I didn't say you're wrong. I just said that wouldn't help.
Yeah.
It's an open energy. It's harmonious. I was willing to hear her out and to be with her. And essentially what she said was, you're right.
Yeah.
I can feel it. I said, all right, let's love whatever is coming up here. Because that's what you actually need. That's what's actually going to be most helpful.
Yeah. I want to always presencing the light. This has been so good. Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, this is... I mean,
Do you want
none
to
of this...
wrap up soon?
None of this... Let's just, like, maybe transfer in here.
Okay.
Yeah. I was kind of laughing because the first time I taught Holy Fuck, I did it by myself. I was like, I have this whole course on divine union energy, and I taught it, like, by myself as a woman when I was in partnership, and I'm like, wait. And so the second time around, when we brought Holy Fuck into existence, I was like, this can't happen without Warren, because Holy Fuck doesn't exist without Warren. And so these conversations where it's like, yeah, I can have conversations about men all day, but the truth is, like, let's invite the masculine into these conversations in these moments and get really honest, intimate, and vulnerable, and like, what's actually happening in this field, in this space. How is this occurring for you, for us, and not just assume. And I want to close with one question in the very beginning that I really loved, and I think would be an awesome ask of, like, really asking you how you feel. Mm-hmm. Lily said something along the lines of, like, how does it feel for the masculine, for men in the collective right now, for so many women who are like, I want to slow down, I want to be provided for. It's kind of like the pendulum swing was like, I got myself, I can totally work and take care of myself, and so I don't really need you, but, like, love you. And now it's like finding its balance, and men are kind of like, whoa, you wanted to work and you wanted to take care of yourself, and now you want to be provided for, and, like, I'm kind of confused, what's going on? So it's like, the question is, how does that feel for you? And I think essentially, well, not necessarily how does it feel for you, but yeah, how is that occurring in your system? And yeah, what's that feel like for you personally? Then also, if you can tune into, like, the field of the collective masculine, what that feels like is happening in the collective field for men.
You talking about the pendulum swing? The pendulum swing from work, I don't want to work? Or which specifically?
I mean, I could just ask this in my own way of our relationship, because when we started dating, I was like, $1 million company, making so much money, had everything taken care of. And what I really feel like, and when I look back and track what happened, I feel like it was like, oh wow, I'm coming into this deep love, And it was almost like our union and the frequency of our love purified the field of that part of me that was like, I'm, the boss babe, essentially. And all of a sudden, like, it was probably about a year into our relationship where I was like, whoa, I do not want to work anymore. Whoa, I really want to have a baby. Oh my gosh, like all these things that I didn't even have desires for. And then coming into a relationship with you, all of a sudden I'm like, so when we first met, I'm like, I'm working, let's create. I want to do everything. I want to work all the time. I want to make tons of money. Yeah. And then about a year in, I'm like, how do you feel about providing and having a family? And I, how do you feel about that? Any other women feel this?
Anybody?
Anybody in the house?
Any other woman take the pendulum swing?
I think that who you are really evoked that in me, though. I want to say that. I really feel like I feel safe with you, and it evoked that inside of me. Otherwise, I don't think I would have I didn't even know if I wanted to have children before. I've never wanted to stay, at home or any of these things. It was never something that was like a deep desire for me, and I really feel like you really evoked that in me.
Yeah, because I could feel it so strongly. I could feel it in you, and I could also feel it like through my own desire towards you, right? And kind of measuring the how available are you for the desires I have with you and for you, that many of them, if not all of them, are also actually just your desire.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I've had many different experiences and feelings about that. I'm happy to share anything.
Yeah, I think it's...
Well, I mean, the funniest example of it is when we were on the island of, is it Big Island? When you were out at the thing being treated like a queen or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Big Island?
Yeah,
when I came out to Big Island, and I don't remember what instigated it, but I basically pulled out the pillow and was like, bitch, stop working. Stop working. Something sparked that because...
Hold on. So when we have tension in our relationship and there's we can feel that just talking isn't going to do anything, we have a pillow fight and it really helps. So we decided we were going to do a pillow fight, and it's pretty funny, actually. We were going back and forth. I was like, we keep traveling. Why do you keep making us travel? And you were like, bitch, stop working. And I just couldn't even keep it together. I just fell down and fully submitted because I was like, you're right.
Yeah. It was great. It was great medicine. It's like the medicine of play, right? Which can really carry power and softness at the same time. Yeah, I'm not sure what your original question was, but that's an example of I guess being in the midst of the split. You know what I mean? Being present to your desire, but then also being present to wherever you're split, which is where the negotiation is. It's an interesting thing,
Would you guys love a little pillow fight tutorial? We can do that for you. Not right now, but maybe tomorrow. Side note.
Yeah. If you have a specific question, that was a very broad stroke there.
So how does it feel for me to be in that pendulum swing? Are you excited? Do you want to? Do you feel like, yay, I want to provide, I think that's the deeper sensation is how does that occur for you in your system? Not how does it feel, but how does it occur for you? Or how are you experiencing this
Yeah, I get the question. It's just a deep question because it's like what I said earlier. There's the man, and then there's how God's moving through me. There's the personal, boo, I got you. And then there's the impersonal flow of God that's moving through me, that's getting activated.
Yeah.
Right. And what I was saying about that is that, yeah, it feels like a negotiation. it feels like control. It feels like an impossible equation. Right? And for me personally, at times that has influenced my inspiration. Not necessarily my like the sentiment of like, hey, I got you, but being moved. Right? Because part of what moves me is the inner feminine, right? It's how it's moving through you as well. So I'm not sure if that's what you were asking, but
Yeah, and I think the other layer of this is like, how do you feel this is occurring in the masculine collective right now? Like, what are you seeing with the men that you're communicating with? You know, I remember you told me a really cool story about one of your clients and how you guys were in a session and he was like looking at his numbers and looking at all the things that he needed to do. I'll actually just let you share the story because I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, one of my clients was essentially got the inspiration to take care of his woman and like all of her finances, and so he added it to his total of like, you know, what he must make in his business. He added that into it. But I think what was significant about that conversation, and this is just speaking to like him and a certain type of man, is that he had the inspiration to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and she also was very open and receptive, which helps, which is kind of what I'm saying is like, she was like in this pendulum swing and she started tuning into this energy, because I know them both. She started tuning into this energy, went through the whole void, the confusion, like, well, it's not like I don't want to work, but I don't want to work the way I did before. It's like, and it's not like, I mean, I know I'm very capable, but I'm being called to slow down. It's all the things. So she was in a space of receptivity, which I think also is the feminine's part of inspiring that in the masculine, like in a pure sense, right? Not in a sense of expectation, not like I expect you to take care of me or you should take care of me. You know what I mean? It's very different. And I don't know that speaks to one sector of men.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was so cool that he felt inspired too. Like he came up with that idea on his own. She didn't ask him, even though she was kind of oscillating in that energy. It was almost like her oscillating in that energy inspired him to want to do that. Yeah.
She was receiving. She didn't know the picture of it yet, but she still received like whatever this I don't want to work energy is, play in the garden. These are just words. Whatever it is, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Do you know? I'm confused, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I see there are so many women that I know have been navigating this, and if you're watching and you feel that where you're like, yeah, in the last year, 2 years, maybe even today, in the last week, I've been in this void, in this death cycle of like, I can no longer work and operate in my life the ways that I used to. It won't even work. Like, it actually won't even work.
Right.
And that's the best part, when someone's like, it's not working anymore.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, we like to say the divine union template, the OG original template in its purest sense of masculine and feminine is being purified. It has been being purified. And so we almost don't know exactly what it is, but it changes things as we're evolving. And so it's like we're remembering the original template. So there's these archetypes, and then there's, you know, certain energies like the protector, the provider, you know, that exist beyond ego and identity and roles of masculine and feminine, right? So what we're talking about is not anything like, oh, the man does this, the woman does this. We're talking about just the pure essence of divine masculine and feminine. Another one of those things that is resurrecting in this purity is the energy of submission, you know, submitting to the masculine, the energy of devotion. These frequencies have been so distorted, contorted over time. Yeah. We're remembering, right? So when we're speaking about provision, and even the way we speak to each other, and you even say something like, I want you to take care of me, it's coming straight through the heart. It's coming from such a pristine, pure place. And also in me, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm a man, so I'm supposed to take care of it. It's like, no, you want that? Yes. You want that? Yes. And anyway, I feel like that's a bigger thing that's happening with the masculine and feminine, and allowing us to come into our unique expressions of that. That's why we say, you know, in our divine union teaching, we help you unlock your unique divine union blueprint, right? Which will be uniquely expressed, right? So we're not on a formula here. This is how this is manifesting for us. When she says, I want you to provide, we're channeling from
our relationship.
It's not even about like, because she can't provide. Obviously, Chelsea's extremely capable. That's not the point. The point is receiving whatever is active and true in the field of desire. And so when we say provision, and she says, I want you to provide and build a family, she's channeling from her heart, and I think from her soul, from the truth. And that's why the whole identity and the roles and all of that don't even matter.
Yeah, don't get caught in like well, that's not actually my thing. You know, I'm seeing Marissa share, like, I'm feeling called to step deeper into service in my business so my boo can slow down and step into what he wants. And I think this is really important for everybody that's watching, is like every relationship dynamic, especially when it's going through a lot of evolutions and its own deaths and rebirths, you will start to see that your relationship is always wanting to come into greater harmony with God. And so whatever that looks like for you, and however you two are meant to co-create and facilitate and play and be in that together, that's why even for us, it's like, you know, we've gone through many different iterations of what this looks like, and we're still discovering it every day. And that's what's important, is it's not this or that. It's not there's one specific way. It's that this is actually, if you'll listen and you attune the field to God, it will literally calibrate organically, and you won't have to play within these like, oh, it's a rule. He must do this or she must do that.
So with Marissa, not specifically, I'm just using this as an example, what I would reflect on is, okay, if you're being called to step deeper into service in your business, right? So there's one flow, and you said, so he can slow down and step into what he desires. He's been hustling, and he's in a job, and has to provide a home for us. The way that we would approach that, and I'm not assuming that you're not approaching this, I'm just using it as an example, is we would check in from this place of truth and intimacy and vulnerability and clarity. What wants to happen here right now in this phase? How does this want to be created? That's essentially what happened with us with the house. It wasn't just like, I'm going to go get the house because she doesn't want to. That's what was trying to happen. Her heart and soul wanted to receive that, and she wanted to stay in Hawaii and feel grounded. And that's what I'm responding to, more so than this makes me a good guy, or this is my role or my job as the masculine. There's not the form. It's not about the form. It's about the energy, and also about reading that and responding to it.
And what's the highest timeline for both of you?
Right.
Because your relationship should be like soul food, how you're navigating, how you're co-creating, how you're working, how you're not working, like whatever's happening inside the dynamic of the relationship should be sanctuary. Relationship is like the place where we come and we're like, oh, this is church. This is the place I come to worship, to pray, to receive.
Church.
And so it's like really sitting down and asking, okay, well, what does it look like in our relationship, not just to survive, but to go beyond crisis and repair all the way into creation. And this is something that Oren and I are going to be going deeper into inside of Holy Fuck.
Yes.
Everything that we're talking about today, we're going to go deeper into inside of Holy Fuck, because, you know, relationship church, like, it's just, we've got so much to share. And the main point is finding your own blueprint in union and relationship. Whether you're in partnership or not, you're being pulsed into that field if you desire to be in union. It's already working itself through you right now. So there's one other thing I want to say, but I will say that if you want to join us, please come in, send us a message. The link is in our bio if you want to check out the details. And scholarships will open today, and I made a very edgy invitation a few days ago and yesterday, and I'm going to drop it in again, which is, if you really want to come into Holy Fuck and finances are the only thing that are keeping you from joining, please, yes, apply for scholarship. And before you do that, really pulse into the field and see if there is a man in your field that you feel like, oh, I want to ask him to gift this to me. My father, my brother, my partner, especially if a man is putting himself inside of you and you are giving your body and your heart and your soul and your devotion to him, and this is going to help with your relationship, I would absolutely invite you to explore that edge of being like, this is going to transform people. Like, husbands love paying for our work and investing in what this is because they know what comes from it. So I would invite you to explore that edge, especially as we're having the conversation around provision, is like, because we're going to be talking about this inside anyway, and if you want to join, we're going to be going into these dynamics and these edges and giving you this invitation. And so just see if there's someone that you feel, yeah, I would love to ask for this as a gift to receive.
Awesome. I want to add one more thing to provision, because we used the word several times, and just wanted to iterate or reiterate that when we say provision, we're giving very tangible examples of like your partner, right? Your significant other or an actual human. But the deepest energy of provision, so if you're not in a partnership or you're not thinking of it this way, is your relationship with the divine masculine expression of God. It's your relationship with God too. And, you know, allowing for more and more provision to manifest in multiple ways in your life. It's the same channel of receiving.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and again, don't assume what God can or cannot do for you. Like, that is really, really, really wild that we do that. And believe me when I say, I know so many women right now who are like, this is exactly how I want to receive, and they are living it. Like, they're just making money, money's coming in. It's like there's I'm not gonna get into that because there's layers to it, but
there's layers to it. And if you're asking a man to support you in joining this course, and this is just a gem for everyone, understanding that in the purest sense, the energy of asking, the willingness to be in your heart and ask for something that's essential or important to you, the result is the asking.
Yeah.
The asking is the receiving, right? You don't win. The win is not just, oh, he said yes. The win is that you asked and you gave him and the divine masculine an opportunity to feel you and to pour into you. To me, that's the bigger win, and it takes the energy of attachment or fear that, well, what if he says no? That's not the deeper point. Obviously, it's the specific thing if you're asking for support on something specific like holy fuck, but just know that you win when you ask.
Yes.
Right? And that's why I tell Chelsea, I'm like, what else? What else? I may or may not be able to give it to you, but tell me.
Ask.
Right? Ask.
Yeah, thank you for landing that piece, because it's important. It's like, that's what I'm saying when I say if you want to join, there's the like nuances in that edge, which is like, oh, but like I'm meeting up against all these things. Wow, even just sitting with the sensation of what does it look like for me to actually do that, and then be okay with however he responds, but knowing that it's such a gift for you and for him when you ask from the purity of your heart. No matter who it is, it could be your father, your partner, like I said, your brother, somebody. This is like huge for the feminine, especially if you want to receive. And then, again, it's also even asking God, I want to receive this. I want to be part of this, whatever that desire is in your heart.
And when you ask from that place, you transcend your identity and open up into pure receiving. It's not asking because you're not capable. It's not asking because. It's just asking, right? Why not receive everything that is meant for you to receive?
Yeah.
There's not a restriction on asking. There's not a restriction on receiving.
What is that? It's the scripture. It is God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom.
Yeah. It is your Father's good pleasure.
It is your Father's good pleasure
to give you the kingdom.
To give you the kingdom.
It's true.
Yeah, I will wrap with that. There's so much more that we would say, and the light is going down, and
It's time to go.
it's time to go, because as you can tell, we could just keep going because we got a lot.
But
we
we're
love
not
it.
going to.
But we're not going to because we got date night.
Yes.
Thank you so much, babe. This was awesome. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Love you.
We love you. We love you. This has been so beautiful. I'm going to share on my story how you can apply for scholarship, but of course, again, inviting that edge for you to ask if you want to join. And if you have any questions about Holy Fuck, please let us know. We're here. It's such a beautiful, beautiful space. If you could just imagine walking into like the most epic, beautiful temple sanctuary of relationship. It is like our signature offer. We only teach it once a year, and it's just incredible. So we're here to share anything else. We're here to support you in making the decision. And then of course, please fill out a scholarship if you've gone through all of the things that we've talked about, and then there's still really wanting to receive. All right, my voice is going.
Yes, it's time to kill.
We love you.
Thank you, Michelle.
If you love this, please comment, share, save it, send it to somebody that you feel like would really benefit from it. It really supports us in getting this mission and this message out there. So please circulate the medicine in the field and let us know what your favorite takeaway was. Love you. Thank you.